Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Not that great of a series with the San Diego Padres, as the Orioles were only able to win one game. So, Manny Machado and his new group of friends got the better of his old group of friends, this time around at least. But I will say, San Diego Padres, with, their record doesn't say this, but they have a lot of really talented people on that team. For one reason or another, things were just not able to work out for them so far this year. They do still have a shot at a wild card. Let's get to the first game. In Petco Park in San Diego, the Orioles were able to put up 4 runs in that first game and hold the San Diego Padres to 1 run. It's very nice to see, especially knowing how the next 2 games went. Rutschman's still at top of that lineup. Yeah, man, we're getting to the point where, and I know this was a tough series, so Rutschman was. Brandon Hyde did want Rutschman in some capacity for these games, but again, another offer. Now, I understand that most major league players and even most good major league players are going to fail 7 out of 10 times at the plate. But you put together a lot of offers like this, you might want to look at resting the guy a little more. He did walk and score a run, but which I guess is something. Gunnar Henderson, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Santander, 0 for, another guy that's not getting too much of a break. O'Hearn, 2 for 3 and a walk. Mountcastle, 1 for 4. Mullins, 1 for 4. Arias, 0 for. Hicks, 2 for 3. And as you can see, Hayes, trying to get Hayes a day off. And Aaron Hicks would not allow it. Aaron Hicks had to leave the game with back ailment of some kind. The word they are using now is soreness. He is available in pinch hitting type roles, but not as a full-fledged starter yet. At least as of this point. Day off today before they start with Oakland, so potentially be better when the Orioles get to Oakland. Hayes, 1 at bat, no hit. Westberg all the way down at the bottom of the lineup, which is kind of odd, though he is a little faster, so it is almost like a second leadoff spot. Understand that, he's not a table setter, but he can, at least from a number 9 spot, you can flip that lineup over and get your top of the lineup at bat. Can be a pretty useful thing. That's why sometimes you might see a little better hitter there. I do think Westberg is fairly well suited for that role. 1 for 4, did score a run. It's kind of a shame about Hicks because he was hitting the ball. Mullins, Henderson, double, or O'Hearn, home run. Hicks did have a fielding error. I wonder if that maybe had something to do with it. Either maybe they're saying he had an injury and that's why, punishment for not fielding the ball correctly, or his back really is hurting him and that's why he couldn't get down and field a ground ball from the outfield correctly. Who knows? Seem to be saying this a few times for Grayson Rodriguez. But this, knowing what kind of clout is in the other lineup, this performance, Monday night's performance for Grayson Rodriguez, I think was his best performance as a professional. Went 7 strong innings, very strong innings, only gave up 3 hits, 1 run, and 1 walk. That is very good. That is a very, very low whip for 7 innings pitched. Means you're going through the lineup 3 and maybe 4 times. Well, maybe 7 times 3 would be 21. This is 24. Yeah, I mean, you're almost at 4 times to the lineup. No. 3 times. 3 times through the lineup. Pay no attention to me in my math. It's terrible. When the more and more a hitter sees you, the more and more they're going to be able to hit you. But you make your adjustments on the mound, and it leads to performances like this because you can go longer in the game. Hitters are trying to make adjustments to you, but you're countering their adjustments with your own adjustments, and you're getting the outs, which included 6 strikeouts. Jacob Webb got the 8th inning. Little crack in his armor here. He gave up 1 hit. I think he was borderline immaculate prior to this. Didn't give up a run, didn't give up a walk, didn't strike anybody out. Felix Bautista, a little shaky-ish in the 9th with 2 walks, but no hits, no runs. Got his 32nd save of the season. No strikeouts. A little concerning. I feel like he hasn't been used much this road trip, so I don't know if it's overuse. Is it possible it's underuse? It's just possible he goes through his stretch sometime where he just doesn't have the accuracy. All right, Tuesday's game. The wheels fell off early. And I mean, like, super early. Like, before you could even get rolling, the wheels were already gone. Orioles gave up 5 runs in the first inning and 2 runs in the second inning. And then another 3 runs in the 5th inning. For a total of 10 runs by the San Diego Padres, Baltimore Orioles 3. Not a good performance. Rutschman, again leading off. Catcher again, 0 Theme here. There's a theme here. Get the guy time off. Just because you're young doesn't mean you can, recover real fast. Especially as a catcher. Henderson, in his normal 2 spot as of now, 1 for 5, 1 RBI. Santander, 1 for 3. Westberg came in later, get Santander some rest. Westberg, no hits and 2 at-bats. O'Hearn, 2 for 3. Did have a walk. Mountcastle, 1 for 4. Mullins, 2 for 4. Hayes, 2 for 4. Frazier, 1 for 3. Urias, 1 for 4. Orioles got 11 hits in this. The problem is their hits were just too spread out. They only grounded out. They only got into 1 double play. Only 1. But the hits were just too spread out. They did have a few extra base hits, O'Hearn and Hayes. Part of the problem is they would do it a lot of times with 2 outs. Hayes, home run. But of course, nobody on base. Westberg did have a throwing error in this one. Don't remember the play off the top of my head. Jack Flaherty got the start in this one. Yes, the Jack Flaherty Mike Elias traded for at the trade deadline. Pitched 3 innings. So at least he was able to go 3 innings. And after he gave up 5 in the first, he was able to go another 2 innings and not completely destroy the bullpen. Gave up 4 hits, and only 4 hits. Gave up 7 runs. Walked 4. That's not great umpiring, but you also weren't making your pitchers. You were missing a lot of spots. He did strike out 3, which is fairly good, but really too many walks killed him. Nick Vespi honestly didn't fare too much better, though he is, towards the, I don't want to say back end, let's say lower end of the bullpen totem pole, I guess. He is relatively young, though. It'll take him a while to find his groove and all. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. Didn't walk anybody, which is nice. It's nice that you didn't walk anybody. You did. Now, yes, you did give up 6 hits, but at least you were close enough to the zone. And at least you didn't give them the runs. The Padres got them from you. So, there is that anyway. Did strike out 1. Now, from there on out, bullpen was fantastic. Fujinami pitches 1 inning. No hits, no runs. Did walk 1, struck out 1. Mike Baumann pitches the 6th inning. Did give up a hit, didn't give up a run or a walk, struck out 2. McCann, that's right, James McCann pitches the 8th inning here. Does give up 2 hits, but doesn't give up a run, doesn't walk anybody. Of course, he doesn't strike anybody out with a 35-mile-an-hour fastball. But, however, it got to that point where, you're so far behind. Well, let's just put a, position player in there. And now, James McCann at least has bragging rights with all his, as he tries to handle his pitching staff, he has bragging rights that he doesn't have an ERA. His ERA is 0. But he only pitched 1 inning, so however. Next game, Wednesday night's game, was a little closer. Not too much. Baltimore Orioles 2, San Diego Padres 5. Rutschman, third straight game. There was opportunity, and this was talked about on some of the local radio stations, at least, the local sports one here. You could potentially sit Rutschman this game, and he would get 2 straight days off. Did seem appealing. And while you want to have a chance to win, and I guess hindsight is 20/20. You lost the game, you might as well have sat Rutschman. Probably would have done yourself some good. He did go 2 for 4, but at the same time, he really needs to get a break. He really does. Mountcastle in the 2-hole, yes, because there was a lefty on the mound. And I think that was some of the reasoning behind sitting Rutschman. Because you could put McCann in there and be like, well, he's facing a lefty, so we shouldn't get too less offensive production from your catching position. But that is not the way they went. So, Rutschman, 2 for 4, did score a run. Mountcastle, 1 for 4, 1 RBI. Santander, 0 for, did drive 1 in. Henderson, 1 for 3, did walk, struck out twice. Westberg, 0 for. Hayes, 0 for. Mullins, 0 for. James McCann, 1 for 3. Mateo, 0 for 2. Frazier, pinch hit late. No hit there. Rutschman double, Mountcastle home run. All off of Blake Snell. Blake Snell is a perennial Cy Young candidate. Error Perez. Yeah, I'll get to that. Man. Dean Kramer, start in this one. Not a bad performance. It is certainly a performance I will absolutely take. Went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks. It's not terrible. That really isn't terrible. Yes, that is a whip, a little more than 1, but it is only a little more. So, and 3 runs, I mean, if you're on offense and you have trouble getting 3 or 4 or 5 runs a game, you're not going to win too many of those games. He did strike out 4. Fujinami, not so good of an outing for Fujinami. Though he didn't walk anybody, which is an improvement. It's like what I said about who was it, Vespi the other day, a few minutes ago. If you walk people, you're giving them the bases. Didn't exactly happen this time, right? He did only pitch 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, but Grisham got the home run. Happens. Perez. Did Tatis... That's right, okay. So Grisham had the solo home run. That was one of Fujinami's runs. Then Grisham gets on with Tatis gets on with got a single, right? I'm pretty sure he got a single. So Tatis was on first base. Juan Soto's coming up, lefty. So Brandon Hyde went to his best left-handed pitcher in the bullpen, which does he only have? He has Vespi and he has Perez. Well, Perez did throw over once. Fine throw over there. Okay move, I guess. Did throw over again. And yes, he did not throw it to the first baseman this time. So, well, I guess that's not even it. But on the throw, Tatis was going on movement. So Tatis was running to second base, and as soon as you see it, we're all thinking, yes, you got him, good job. And then you realize he didn't throw it to the first baseman. He's trying to throw it to the fans. So, of course, Tatis ends up on third base. And then Perez with his back to him, and apparently no other player on the field was paying attention except Fernando Tatis Jr. He was paying attention that nobody else was paying attention to him. I guess they assumed he had already stolen home and therefore was not on the base pass. Yes, that's right. He stole home because nobody was paying attention. So he turns a single into like a home run with a few errors. That's very disappointing. So that is technically a run charge to Fujinami. But, however, did get an out after that. Webb pitched the 8th inning, and with these losses, they were on the road, so the bullpen did save themselves 2 innings by, or I guess the Orioles offense saved the bullpen 2 innings by not scoring enough runs. However, Jacob Webb, again, 1 inning pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks. Didn't strike out anybody, but another fantastic outing by him. Not so much a fantastic outing by everybody else. But it's the way it goes sometimes. Do have an off day today, so hopefully get some much needed rest as the Orioles are traveling to Oakland. Actually, they're probably in Oakland right now. All right, let's get to this article written today by Rock Kubatko. Actually, it was this morning because 4 a.m. Yeah, I don't know if they schedule it to be released on the website that early or if he actually is just posting it that early. Does do some updating about some injured peoples and maybe some rehabbing assignments. Talking about Ken Givens Tate starting the year on the injured list while McCann is here. Givens has been designated for assignment. Nothing has gone through yet as far as Givens becoming a free agent, though everybody fully expects it to be. Dylan Tate, he hasn't been fully given up on for the season, but we are running out of time. He has had a setback with his arm. It's not going that well for him. It is going better for John Means and Keegan Aiken. John Means is in the process of throwing in games. They are minor league games, but he's still at the point where he's only pitching around 40 pitches. They want to stretch him out more. So it's still going to be a while because you can't just magically stretch out somebody's arm who hasn't really thrown a whole lot in the last 2 years. Aiken is a little further behind Means, but things do seem to be progressing at this point. Now, he can, if I understand this article correctly, Aiken can toss the ball. He's not exactly pitching yet. He's not on a pitching rehab regimen yet. He is tossing the ball around, though. So, I want to say, what is the deadline? Is the deadline September 1st? I know September 1st the rosters will expand, so we're looking at that in, 2 weeks? But also around that time is where a player has to be on the roster to be eligible for a playoff spot. So, it's not looking too likely that Tate, Means, or Aiken could be in the playoffs. We'll probably see them in September, but getting to the point where they kind of need to be up here or they can't be used in the playoffs, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. All right, let's check the standings out with 2 losses. The Orioles' lead in the American League East has been cut to 2 games instead of 3, which isn't terrible. Blue Jays are 7.5 back. Red Sox 10.5 back. Yankees still in last place, have not been playing well. Are 14 games back. They are on a 5-game losing streak. Yes! I like it. Rangers are, about 2 games back? Approximately 2 games back, the Orioles for top seed in the American League. And Houston not too far behind them. And LA is, wow, Jesus, the Dodgers on a 10-game win streak. Wow. Yeah. All right, check the schedule out. As I mentioned, the Orioles are about to start a 3-game series in Oakland with the Oakland Athletics. That series will start Friday, Thursday. Today there is an off day. Let's see, Friday is scheduled for around 9:40. These are East Coast times because, they're all wonky for us because they're over there on the West Coast. So 9:40 for the first game, 9:07 for the second game, and 4:07 for the third game on Sunday. Okay. Now, have not taken many games on this road trip. Actually, split, right? The Orioles are 3-3 on this road trip. So it is going to be a 9-game road trip in total. Things haven't gone so well but I think this series with Oakland can be something we should look at closer than you might think. Now, Oakland is one of the worst teams, if not the worst teams in the league. But Baltimore Orioles, they had an okay series with Seattle, won 2 out of 3. Came into San Diego, they won a game, and then they got kicked in the shin the first game, then kicked in the face, then punched in the face, and then when they were on the ground, San Diego kicked them a few more times. So, the Orioles are picking themselves up off the mat, and they're heading down to Oakland. Now, what happens there? Very disappointing series with San Diego. Can you turn things around? You can turn things around. It's a very good sign. If you can't win 2, and I'm really hoping for 3 games. If you can't win 3 games against Oakland, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not a good sign at all. So, but stay tuned for Monday's show where I will talk about how the Baltimore Orioles fared with the Oakland Athletics. Hopefully it will go the way I want it to go, and it'll be a clean sweep of the Oakland Athletics. Well, stay tuned for that anyway. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Ryno, and this is Birdland.